Story 1: Not letting my MIL and FIL help me with the baby after their reaction to me being injured. I, 21F, have a 7-month-old son with my boyfriend. My family lives abroad and are coming over to stay and help at Christmas time. For now, my MIL and FIL, 60s Deborah and Bob, are helping me with household stuff and the baby. So far, we haven't had any real issues and they've been a massive help. About 3 weeks ago, I fell down the stairs. I wasn't holding the baby and the baby was safe. However, instead of helping me, Deborah and Bob both jumped to comfort the baby who was crying, and left me at the bottom of the stairs. My legs were fine, but I was wobbly because of shock and asked one of them to help me up. After nearly 10 whole minutes of being ignored, I managed to stand up on my own and hobble through to the living room. I sit down and Deborah says, "What's happened to you? Are you okay?" I'll admit, I saw red. I just said I fell down the stairs. Didn't you hear me calling you for help? Deborah's eyes widened and she said she was too busy fussing over the baby. After an hour, my arm was swelling up and I was taken to hospital. Luckily, it was nothing serious and recovery time would be quick. After my boyfriend got home and his parents left, I told him I no longer want their help after today's events. I can manage on my own, even though it'll be hard. He was taken aback and said they've done a lot for us. I said I appreciated it all, but they ignored me crying and calling them for 10 minutes after I fell down the stairs. They don't care about me, only the baby, and I was embarrassed I didn't see it sooner. He called his parents to let them know we won't need their help anymore, and his dad said, "Is it about today?" We really didn't hear her. My boyfriend just told them they're invited to Sunday roast this week and that's all. I could tell he was not happy about my decision, but he said he went along with it because I'm the mother. Fast forward to Sunday and my Bill and Sil are guests as well. Sil has a 3-year-old and is totally on my side, but Bill is not. He told me to be grateful for his parents' support as they're significantly more well-off than my parents are and paid for many newborn/infant expenses and plan to pay for many more as the baby grows. Since then, Deborah keeps calling asking if we need any help and says she feels awful not seeing the both of you and that she misses the baby. Comment 1. NTA. From what you described, there's no way they didn't hear you fall. They deliberately chose to ignore you lying there, possibly seriously hurt. And they are lying about it. They didn't help you at all until you managed to get yourself to a place that they could no longer ignore you. In turn, you cannot ignore behavior like that. You just can't. What if you'd punctured a lung or passed out from a serious concussion? What if you died because they couldn't be bothered to investigate? You are better off without that kind of help. I'm aghast that your husband didn't rip them each a new one. Comment 2. You don't comfort a baby and not look for why they are crying. The noise probably scared the baby. Where did the noise come from? They should have checked on you even if they didn't hear you. If someone shouts in this house, people come to check. Even if it's just barely heard. Especially after sounds of things falling and breaking. Something could have affected how loud they could yell, and they needed help. Comment 3. If you genuinely don't need their help and won't need anything going forward, NTA. Even if they didn't hear you, 10 minutes is enough time to wonder where you were. Being grateful for help previously provided doesn't automatically mean you have to continue accepting it, and being on your own for several minutes after an injury can feel longer and takes its own mental toll. That said, if you actually do need help, punishing them will likely backfire. Story 2. If I didn't pay for my stepkid's private schooling. I, 36F, have one, 13F, child. My husband, 46, has 4 kids, 13F, 11M, 8F, 6F, with his ex-wife. Their divorce was very amicable and he gladly pays for his ex his home and cash support as she was a ZAM. This amounts to close to 8K a month. He makes 250K, 15K month net, while I make 400K, around 23K a month, varies. I would guess his ex makes 60K a year now. We live in a high cost of living city, so X's house is only 3 beds and ours is 4 beds, almost 10K a month. Before marrying me, he lived in a studio down the street and he would take the kids during his days but put them to bed at her house. I lived in a 2-bedroom paying 4K, so my daughter had her own room. Now, his kids share a room at our house when they are here 30% of the time. We have an uneven amount of kids and can't afford a 6-bedroom. I have put my daughter in her own bedroom. She's only 2 months younger than my oldest stepdaughter and is with us almost all the time. Her father is out of state and I receive meager child support. Between that and my daughter attending private school, started 2 years ago before we married, I pay a little less than half my salary every month to tuition and mortgage payments. Ex-wife is now asking my husband to either allow my oldest stepdaughter or stepson to have their own bedroom, and to send all the kids to private school. Quite frankly, we can't afford it. I am making great money now but was basically paycheck to paycheck most of my daughter's life. I pretty much decimated my retirement and got into big debt, 100K, to start my business that just started thriving last year. She is claiming I am treating my child like the favorite. I have always instilled academic values in my child. She has never received anything less than an A and has a lot of dreams. The other kids are great kids but they do not value education as much. I'm not judging, just evaluating, but the kids are different. They have been raised differently, and that's fine. I told my husband we can consider private school for each kid individually as they get older and they possibly get more academic rigor, but sending 5 kids to private school is just out of the question. I feel like I am being expected to foot this bill because I am successful, but I also have my long-term financial security to work out. He has a healthy retirement, to which X is entitled to half, and I have nothing to fall back on if my industry gets a downturn. My career is half his career's age. I do not have wealth like he has. I asked my daughter if she was okay sharing a room with her stepsister, and she said she would prefer not to since the kids are messy. Comment 1. I'd honestly legally divorce him now and then have him figure out the support for the ex-wife because it's ridiculous that he also pays her mortgage and gives support. Most states would do about 30% if I come. I've seen up to 50% of disposable income, so depending on his tax bracket, if you say his net is $15,000, the most he'd pay is $7,500. But that's if she had no job. So 1. You shouldn't be footing the entire mortgage payment, and your daughter shouldn't be penalized because she attends private school, or because she is your only child. It doesn't work that way. He needs to put his foot down, period. I would legally divorce to keep assets separate, in my opinion. I was the woman who got screwed over big time by my ex, so I'm very careful now. OP comment. She didn't have a job when they divorced, so it is about 50% of net income. I have thought about this since she has a job now, but things have been so amicable and we do well, so he hasn't pushed back. He is paying part of the mortgage payment, but I am paying more. I don't think I am going down the legally divorce route, but I think we may need to do a post-nup, especially if I do start paying private school. I feel like he has so much more wealth than me, 50% of each home, and I am just funding our lifestyle. Story 3, not caring about making my roommate's mother uncomfortable? Me and my girlfriend, I'm 28M, she's 26F, live in a 2-bedroom apartment. We occupy the bigger one of the bedrooms and sublet the other one. Since July, we have had a new roommate, 20F, a university student. I'll call her Emma. I admit I don't particularly like Emma. I treat her fairly and try to not let it affect my interactions with her, but this could be my blind spot in this whole situation. Anyway, since mid-September, I've had a temporary work placement in a town which is over 3 hours from us by car. Because of the distance, I'm also accommodated on the premises, which is covered by the employer. I come back on Friday evening and then go back again on Sunday evening. The work here should continue until the end of October, then I'll be back to my regular employment. To be honest, I feel quite lonely. There's nothing here to do outside of work, the work is frustrating because I'm getting horrible support from my home company and get all the blame from the people here for things that go wrong or slow. Getting home to my girlfriend is the only bright spot of my week. I'm only mentioning this because I think it's relevant. Anyway, Emma asked us if her mom can visit her for a few days, starting tomorrow. We told her that if it's just a few days, it's not a problem. However, then Emma approached my girlfriend and asked her to ask me if I could not come home this weekend. Apparently, Emma grew up in a pretty conservative household and her mom wouldn't be happy to learn that Emma shared an apartment with a man. Also, she would be definitely super uncomfortable with hearing me and my girlfriend have sex or just see us be affectionate. My girlfriend told her that she doesn't think that's reasonable, but that Emma should ask me personally. So she did, and I told her that this is my apartment too and that I also don't think her request is reasonable. It's no problem for us to have sex when Emma and her mom are out in the city, but I disagree with not coming home at all. Also, if having a male roommate was such an issue for her, she should have found a different apartment. Emma originally accepted it, but I think that with her mom's arrival approaching, she changed her mind. She has been texting me since yesterday that I'm gonna get her into trouble and that it's just one weekend. I had a call with my girlfriend and she said that Emma seems really on edge and is lashing out and we maybe could let her have this weekend to keep the peace. However, we finally decided to stick to our normal routine. It's the 21st century, Emma's mother should keep up. Comment 1. NTA. And if she really is lashing out at your GF and you because she decided to move into an apartment with a man and her mommy doesn't like that, I'd find the first opportunity to not renew her lease. Perhaps even looking at evicting her. That's drastic, but so is her behavior. OP comment. This is honestly my main issue with her and the reason why I don't like her. She seemed nice at first, maybe a bit childish, but now we're realizing how immature she is even for her age. She literally acts like a sulky teenager anytime we have a disagreement. Comment 2. NTA. If the mother is that upset over it, maybe they want to fund a nice hotel for you to stay in with your girlfriend for the weekend. Or better yet, the mom can pay for a new place to stay in and not bother you all any further. Sounds to me like she's spoiled by the very people she's trying to not have around you, as the audacity to ask someone not to come home to their own home amazes me. Do not give her this ridiculous request as you will be solidifying this spoiled, entitled behavior. Story 4, buying a cake a child behind me wanted. My pregnant wife, our first, messaged me at the end of my work shift that she had sudden cravings for cake, and I was more than happy to get her one. Unfortunately, as this was close to 6 p.m., the bakery only had a Swiss roll left in terms of cake. As I was selecting a few other breads, a mother and her daughter came in, and the girl noticed the Swiss roll in the display cabinet and shouted that she wanted it. However, I had already ordered it, and when the worker took it out for me, the girl started screaming and crying. The mother did initially ask if I could leave the roll for her, but I said that I ordered first. She then began getting extremely demanding, saying that I didn't need to eat it, can't you feel for a kid, how selfish, etc. It only stopped with the worker said that I had came first and ordered it before the mother and daughter even walked in. I got home and told my wife the incident. She said that I was a bit of an asshole for not giving up the cake for the kid, and that she would have understood if the store had no more since I did buy other sweetbreads, or I could have gone to the supermarket instead. She also asked why I didn't tell the mother that I was buying it for a pregnant wife with cravings. I didn't see the need to share private info, but wife said that maybe the mother would have understood, and that I appeared to be insensitive by sticking to ordering first, as my argument. We did end up enjoying the Swiss roll and she told me not to worry and just be more mindful next time, but I can't help but feel a bit guilty. Was I the a-hole for denying a kid a cake she wanted? Comment 1. NTA. You were getting your pregnant wife something for a craving. I can tell you that I did a ton of driving and impromptu runs during both pregnancies when my wife had cravings. I did it because I wanted to and knew it would make her happy. I may be being petty here, but your wife is kind of an A for calling you kind of an A when you were making a run for her. It isn't like you were nasty to the kid or anything like that. OP comment. My wife explained it as a scenario for when we have our child and something similar happens and how sad we and our child would be. But I don't think I would let my child throw the same tantrum, nor be as rude as the mother was to me. I can't blame my wife, her emotions and thinking are all over the place. So she may have been overthought it, but it was enough to make me feel guilty. The impromptu runs are sometimes the best, to be honest. Couple weeks ago she had a craving for something, but didn't know what she wanted. So I brought home a roast chicken. She absolutely demolished that chook, and proclaimed it the best meal she ever had. Comment 2. NTA. This stuff pee me off. What are you teaching your child with this kind of behavior? That they can always have what they want and are so special they can deprive someone else of it even if they got there first? If you wanted to, you would, but if you don't, well, it's life, isn't it? We don't always get what we want. The mother's reaction is very telling as to why the child behaves that way.